What's good, guys? It's your boy CS back with another one. For those of you who weren't aware, I have caught a nasty infection, so I am still on the mend, even currently, and I am going to be doing a double dose today for our analysis. So I've put a chronology of this video, the point of no return, of what we're going to be looking at. So we're going to be looking at some analysis on Bitcoin. I might even throw in some, ETH and Sol just to see where they are at. The Tether dominance and also the USDC dominance. The Bitcoin dominance, where the levels are. Looking at some altcoins, more the ones that a lot of the group follow, such as Brett, for instance. There's Z-score, where we are on there. Market cap of memes, alt season index, and fear and greed. So this is going to be a packed video. I'm going to try to go through everything. I'm not going to say as fast as I can, but in as much detail as I can, because this video, as a lot of my previous videos, when I give a lot of information, you need to soak it in and really dial in now as to which direction we're going in. So without further ado, let's go straight into Bitcoin, right? And as you know, I'm going to go straight and zoom out. So if you recall, in the private group, if you're not in my private group, again, please DM me if you want to join, and you will get lots of alpha from a massive community. I'm not even saying a massive community, but a family where we all try to give each other a heads up on what's going on in the market. But anyway, if we look at this pink trend line, and I've circled some of them, these were always the tops of where Bitcoin ended up. And we have since blasted through, and we've actually back testing it right now. So this week, how this weekly candle is looking to finish is looking very, very bullish. No shock there. Now, if I go into the spider lines, and a lot of you guys know I love these spider line charts, I think the top is somewhere around here, like 140, 150k. There's still a lot to go through, and there's a lot of bullish momentum developing. Now, there are things that we do need to look at, and we do need to be aware of, which can also signal bearish patterns. But for now, what I'm looking at is this wedge pattern. So I shared this within our group at the bottom here, and I basically said, look, we're in this wedge pattern. This is what we're following. I can now take these alerts off. And what we want to see is a close up, a back test down next week, and then the next leg can finally happen. So we're basically there. We're ready, in my opinion, to go and fully flush out all the shorts that are above us. Now, what I want you to be aware of is the RSI. The RSI is very much overcooked, but an RSI that's overcooked does not necessarily mean that you can take a short there. There are indicators, which I'm going to come on to shortly, to show how there are short opportunities. Like, I know Doom is a perma bear in the group, for instance, and he's caught like the top at 122, 123, and he rode it down to 115, 117. I don't know where he is now with it, but again, we talked about that because we could see divergences here, right? When you can see divergences and they pop up, and you've got a flash signal here, that means you want to take a short so it could come down. Now, the point I'm trying to get at here is on the RSI, what Doom basically did was, and what I was showing was, we're following this trajectory that we're bouncing off here. So until Bitcoin can make a break above, it will not reset the RSI. However, that does not necessarily mean that Bitcoin will break it. Even if Bitcoin goes up on the daily and tags it again, that's going to send Bitcoin very, very far up to maybe like 130k. And even if it gets rejected, that's fine. You can take a short there. It's a good short to take around that particular area. But the point that I'm trying to make is that once we get here to this little trend line there, that's where we want to see. Is it going to break? If it does, fantastic. We're going to be setting a new precedent here. If not, that is the end of the bull market, and then we come back down into the bear market. Now, just to visualize this a bit better for a lot of us, because we don't want to be out here constantly just buying. Look, the time to buy was when I told you to buy and just to sit back like I have been doing. That's why there's no stress once I'm in this period of extreme greed and fear and greed. The whole sentiment is very, very much around the fear, very much around the greed area. For me, this is where I want to be taking profits. But regardless, even when the trend is your friend, you can still make it to your advantage. So look, you see on the weekly how this is tagging this. If this breaks here, then we can have that cosmic bull run that we're looking for. However, if we reject off here and come back down, that's going to signal a strong decline, a strong trend change to bring us all the way back down. Now, when I look at the wave patterns, what I want to be seeing is, are we getting that wave down? So on the daily, we are. The 2 daily is flashing. The 3 day is flashing. The 4 day is literally just flashing now. And the weekly is flashing. So from a bearish perspective, there are signs that actually this could be the top, or we're heading to the top because of where we are on the higher time frames. So it's just something to be aware of as well, that we are nearing the top of this cycle. Whether we get one more full blast or not, that's irrelevant to me, because let me put it this way, because I've already got my trades in on the buys, I'm already taking profits. But really, I want to be looking to take the big short or the top of the market when that arises. And when this arises on the weekly and I get a flash red dot, that's where I'm thinking we're going to be taking profits. Now, if we look at this is a big rising wedge and what a lot of bears are looking at. And again, for those of you who don't know, I like to give both sides of the coin. This is what trading's all about. You need to be aware of what could potentially happen on both sides of the spectrum. So now look at these 2 white trend lines, right? These 2 white trend lines. We have got a rising wedge that is just basically bouncing. And if this comes back down, we could all the way nuke down there, which is a possibility. And it's just something to be aware of. So that is a rising wedge. We've not actually closed above it just yet. So we are waiting for a candlestick to finish above it. That will signal, actually, this is invalidated now. And instead, this is the actual pattern that we're looking at. See, you can have perspectives on both sides, and it doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means that you're open-minded to taking on a bearish or a bullish stance. And this is why I teach trading like it is, which is, look, here for me is impulse move up, bear flag, and then ready for the next wave. It's a continuation pattern. But you wouldn't be wrong if you were bearish on the higher time frame, on a weekly time frame, and saying, actually, wait a minute, CS, this looks more to me like it's the end of the cycle. And you know what? You wouldn't be wrong either there. So this is how analysis can change between different people that have different bias and sentiments. But we have to follow the price action and follow it as best as we can to a T. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention was we're actually finding a lot of good support at this daily 20 EMA. And on the M2 global liquidity, if we want to follow it in that aspect, we can see there's a bit of zigzag action, but we get one more blast off, that could send us to 132 very, very quickly. You know what? I might even just put an alert there. 131, let's put it there. That is where we could get a massive blast off and then, come back down, and then we'll see where the M2, actually ends up. And I believe that is with the 80-day lag. So somewhere around that is where we're heading for. So Bitcoin, like I said, both circumstances looking very healthy. On the weekly POC zone, it looks like this is going to be if it does close, going to be the largest candle close that Bitcoin's ever had in history. So this is a candle close, not where, oh look, Bitcoin's hit up to here. That's the peak. Yeah, that's the peak, but it wasn't a close. It was a wick up. We're looking for candle closes that give us confirmation candles. And right now, this looks very, very bullish. Cool. Next on the list is the tether dominance. So I gave these guys in my private group the channel that we were looking at. So this channel is now invalidated. We no longer need it. Completely finished. And right now, similar to how the tether dominance is, we're kind of looking at like a rising wedge. Similar to the flag pattern that we've got on Bitcoin, right? So it's just like that. And if we can break out, great. If not, we might have one more leg up and then come back down. So just a few things to be wary about on the tether dominance and the tether and USDC dominance. Now, if I zoom out, there's a lot of stuff going on. But if you can follow the turquoise trend line. So if you follow these turquoise trend lines, so that big one and that big one, and you notice how Bitcoin bounces off these yellow trend lines. You know what? I'm going to give it... like that, comes back up, and then if it comes back and nukes down to this turquoise trend line, that will signal the end of the cycle for me personally. Anywhere around here, even if it hit this pink trend line, that would be the signal to end alt season, the bull market for good. And I've left it as no secret that I'm going to be taking major profits from 4.10% downwards, basically. I'm DCAing out right now. So I've taken about 10 to 20% out. By the time we get down here to around like 4.0% to 10%, I'm taking about 50 to 60% out. I'll be honest with you. I want to be taking profits. And that's how you win in this game. You take profits. You don't get greedy. That means I can leave in around 20 to 30%, maybe 40% at a max, maybe stretch, of my remaining assets. And that's the smart way to do it. Because then you've taken out what you need to take out. You've made your profits. You can take a bigger gamble. Listen to me, guys. The one thing that I want you guys to take away from this video is take profits at some stage. You do not want to be leaving this arena as exit liquidity again and again and again. You have to take profits and you have to switch your bias. The further we go down lower, your bias has to change to, you know what, I need to start thinking about taking shorts now, because in the bear market, and there will be a bear market, whether you like it or not, there is going to be another bear market. People last cycle at the top, not even at the top, at like 50k, 60k, we're calling for 100k, calling for 150k. That was last cycle. That was last cycle. Listen to me when I reiterate it. That was last cycle. We got to 68k and people were screaming never below 40k again, never below 30k again. We went all the way down to 15k. And people were then screaming we're going down to 5k. These people have no clue what's going on. They don't. They like to talk a big game, but throughout this whole cycle, 95% of them, and I mean 95% of them, I literally do mean 95% of them, have all been wrong. You name me one better influencer that has done better than me. Literally, you cannot call anybody better than me. I know that sounds very, very cocky, but with the utmost respect and self-respect to myself, nobody's called anything better than me this whole cycle. And I'm telling you for your own good, because it's tough love. When everybody gets super greedy and euphoric, you need to be taking profits and you need to be selling and start thinking of shorting if you want to short, that is. So this is why the tether dominance has given us a massive signal, because one day, however long that is, even if we got down here, this is going to go all the way up here. It is going to go. And look at the state. If you carry a short the whole bear market, you are going to be laughing. And I don't care what people say about institutional investors. Listen, the institutional investors were here last cycle. They were here last cycle. The same people that are claiming institutional investment, there's just more of them that are in it now. They've had to buy it a bit later. But at the end of the day, they bought it last cycle. They bought all those alts last cycle too to make quick money. So let's not get it twisted of where we are, okay? So just something for you guys to be aware of, that we need to take profits urgently and ASAP when we get to those levels. Now, a few guys have been asking me when is alt season? Well, I literally said anything around 66% was alt season start. And look, it clipped and then we went. I did want there to be a bigger wick, but you can't always catch everything. And I was going to wait a bit more for a few more alts, but hey ho, this is life at the end of the day. So everything that I'm in, everything that I've added, I've just added on. And where we're at now is this red channel. We are at the bottom, and this is a really big moment because this yellow trend line, we crushed massive resistance previously, and we back tested it. What we want Bitcoin to do now, what we want the dominance to do now is to break through this. We need alts to absolutely demolish this once and for all. If alts can do it, alts will signal a absolute 10% charge on alts. It will take us all the way down here, and this is where we want to be. The last two bottoms of alt season have always been at basically 40%. The last two. At a minimum, you want to be getting out at around 50% to 48%. At a minimum, you want to be taking about 70% of your profits off then. The 30% or 20%, the fractional marginal basis, you leave to run. And if they get there, they get there. If they don't get there, hey ho, you've taken 70% off the table. You've got stop losses to entry. This is the way you want to play it. You want to play it where you're not exiting the market too quickly, but neither are you waiting too long where you think it's always going to come here. You've got to remember, there's a lot of players in this market where they're going to cause massive wicks. Massive wicks up and down, up and down, up and down. So you've got to be careful where we're going with the dominance. By the end of the day, if we break through 60.3%. If we break 60.3%, strap in, because it's going to be a fast move down at that point. Unless we get the kind of fake out motion here like we did last time in November and December. That's what we want to avoid. Fingers crossed we don't have to suffer again like that. But that's just something to be aware of. Okay, alts. So I'm going to start with Fartcoin, right? Because Fartcoin for me, it broke out of its yellow wedge. So look at this yellow trend line, right? It broke out here, that massive candle here, 16% candle. It came back, and I literally said in the lounge group, this is the bottom, this is the back test. And look what's happened, back test. That's all we wanted, a back test. If we look at Brett's done a similar motion, right? From all the way up here, look at this pink trend line. We follow it all the way, went all the way, and look what's happened with Brett. I'll just move this one for now. Back test. Now on its way. The back test is done. It's successful. All Brett needs to do now is move. That's all it needs to do. There's a lot of different coins that are basically doing the same thing. Same with like Floki did the back test, and Floki just went full send after that. A quick back test, bang, went straight. So a lot of these coins are ready to move. One coin that if you're properly switched in and you're watching this full YouTube video, CGBT, listen to me right now. Not many people are going to catch this. This thing has not moved. This is going to rocket. Sorry, guys, still suffering with my infection, so trying to keep hydrated throughout this long course of the video. CGBT, ChainGBT, in my opinion, has got all this to break through at a minimum. On leverage, on spot a 3x, clear 3x, but on leverage, this thing, I think, is going to go berserk. I really do. ChainGBT, for me, unlike like Floki, ChainGBT, like Brett and Popcat, has done nothing so far. And it's got the minerals to absolutely go ballistic. Pepe as well hasn't really done a lot, but I want to look at the Pepe one. Just like the Floki, just like the Brett, just like the Fartcoin, came back and it back tested. It also hit off this yellow support trend line, which initially it fell under and then it reclaimed and then it back tested and then it came back. And now Pepe has a lot of room to maneuver. If you're not in SPX, my suggestion is getting to GigaChad. If you type in, go to Murad's profile, go in the search bar, $Giga, $Giga. He literally is saying that SPX and Giga and BTC, the Harry Potter coin, Sonic, whatever, Obama, Inu one, forget that one anyway. GigaChad and SPX are his two biggest bets. That's all he's shilling. SPX and Giga, SPX and Giga, SPX and Giga. Giga has all this to move if it wants to come back. If it's going to have a move, it's going to have a crazy move. With same hitting this trend line, I think all the OGs that have hit like 2-3 billion, Brett, Floki, With, any coin that's basically hit a couple billy, they're the ones that I would be really interested in getting back into because they've got the minerals to go back up there. Like, WIF has the minerals to go back up to 4 billion, 5 billion. It's going to be quite easy for WIF to do that. And if Ansem starts shilling it, you know that shit's going to fucking blast. As much as we don't like that guy and how much of a scammer he is, if you get in on the wave of WIF, excuse me, it's definitely a wave to run. And at the end of the day, we're here to make money. Even if it's off those scammers, it's the best way to move. Casper's having a really good day today, actually. 8% move. Absolutely flying. It looks like it's going to do that little parabolic. Let's see if I can copy and paste that. Oops. It's not allowing me to move it for some reason. Oh, there we go. So much harder to do this on my mobile than it is on my PC. It's not clean, but basically I'm trying to emulate that. And it looks like it'll kind of do that double V, that double bottom motion. If you look at it, it's a double bottom. So this looks like it's got stuff in the tank to very, very much move. So Casper's on its way. B talked about beam in the private group, and I totally agree. I've got this symmetrical triangle type of formation. So what we're looking for, and I pasted this one already within our group, is that. And again, guys, if you're not in the private group, you're not going to get these signals, because at the end of the day, I want the people who've been supporting me from way back when and who actually want to be part of an active community to win better than everyone else. So this is where I am with Beam. As soon as Beam does that kind of motion, backtest, boom, send it. Don't really have high hopes for the AI 16Z, but, you know, it could have a little pump, maybe to like 400 million, 300 million, I don't know. Could be on the cards. Render, I know a lot of people have render, so I did something for, I think it was Yuri or Doom. I can't remember who wanted to, I think it was Yuri. Yuri wanted to long render, and this is a while back that I drew this, but this was the pattern that I was saying to him, which is, if we get out of there, render can finally send. And if it is the #1 AI coin, like the official one, the unofficial one to me is ChainGPT by a mile. But if it's the official #1 coin, then fully send like that. Nero don't really have high prospects for anymore, but I think they've still got an active community, so it could be one to keep, you know, on your cards. Peanut, you know, Peanut was another one like Brett and Floki and Whiff, where it's gone to billions. So unlike some of the coins like Act and Gotius Maximus and all the other shit ones that I think will never come back, Peanut still does have a bit of a community feel to it. And that's why I'm thinking it potentially could go back up. I don't know how much it could go back up, but listen, if you can do a weekly candle and do 1,530%, that's a 15x in 1 week. Then in my books, you know, you've got the minerals to send this thing and to go back to billions. So I wouldn't bet against Peanut. Just spoke about Pepe. Fetch, similar to Render. I think Fetch here is at a breaking. Look at this zigzag motion. It's basically ready to it's ready to explode. It's either going to go up or down. Whichever one, I don't know. But that is signaling market manipulator control. They're controlling this chart very heavily, but whichever way they decide, I put a long in there personally. Fetch has really done nothing, and you know, it's been to 3 billion as an AI coin. It actually does have some great utility. It could potentially even come up here to 1.5 billion. Moodeng, I fucking hate this hippo, but for Alex, for Doom, for Shane, you can even tell in my voice, I will long this fucking hippo because it's been the bearer of bad news for me all the time. But right now, it's actually finding some great support at this POC zone. And to be fair, it could actually just full send here. Yeah, it's maybe a back test next week. 0.20339 and then full send. That would make sense to me. Sundog for me is so underrated. Like, I feel like this is look at this, just calmly, just slowly rising. Nobody's talking about Tron. I feel like when money flows back into Tron and Justin Tron does do something, like he will be the poster boy. He's got the ear of Trump. Like, didn't Trump pardon him for some AML, embezzlement, bribery type of stuff on the golf course? Go check that up in your own time. But I'm pretty sure there was something about it. That is definitely on the cards. Trump could potentially even move. Sneck is the bet on Cardano, and I definitely love Sneck. I think Sneck is the one. Pepe, bet on Pepe, Chinese Pepe. Let's see if anything happens. Bonk's going to full send. SPX is going to full send. Ponky's going to full send. I'm checking in with Baker what's going on with Labubu, because I thought Labubu was the boo-boo, but at the moment it's just producing tears of boo-boos at the moment. So who knows, I may even just give a blanket long just to see what could happen here. It's unfortunate because it just looks like it is just going to nuke. Useless. Well, back at all-time highs again. Wouldn't bet against it. House, trying to find a stairway there. Trolls moving crazy. I saw this 50%. Wow. Troll did make it back. It's done really well, actually. Congrats to Shane, who got into Troll after I told him to. So, absolutely a banger. Turbo, Pump is also one I'm looking at. I just feel like Pump may get something. Mog and Pengu are just flying. Wouldn't bet against the house, and Doge as well. So those are where we're at with the altcoins. Just in terms of the total market cap, if you've not got these already, saved, I'm looking at 6 trillion is where my top is going to be for total, and then for total free, we're currently at the previous all-time high, and what we're looking for here is a close above. And if we get that close above, next week is going to be back test. This is very important here. If we close above 1.05 next week, if we back test, that is full send for me. That's it. This is it. The final leg where we're supposed to be ending up here. Around 1.8 trillion. Maybe a 2x to 2 trillion or even higher. But that's where we're at. If we close there, happy days. Very much happy days. I'm actually going to put more alerts here, just so that we're aware. Okay, others. I've already done the total, so I don't really want to kind of focus too much on there, but we've still got ages to go. I think 1 trillion is the top. Again, I'll keep you updated. Dominance, still nowhere near where we want to be. Just amended now. Okay, that's where we are with the coins. Now, for the MVRV Z score, if this wants to load, we are currently at a level of 2.5, 2.3. Now, as you'll see up here, when we get to this region of red, that is the top of the cycles of every single previous cycle. So right now, we are nowhere near 4 and 6. 4 and 6 is actually where I want to be. I want to be DCAing out of, in my honest opinion. That's where I want to be getting out here, around this region. Once we get around here, that's where I would want to be DCAing out of. And that's where I'm going to be keeping a real big eye out for where Bitcoin lands. Okay, so we've looked at the Z score. We're now going to look at just market caps of some coins as a whole. And if we go into meme, so no surprise with the big three. They've not really changed. Pengu is definitely climbing. If anything, you could argue that Pengu is basically Pengu's cycle to lose. Pengu can just keep going here and keep going and keep going at the end of the day. Bonk's still doing its thing. I think it can still get to around 10 billion. SPX, just because of Murad, flying. Fartcoin's done jack, and I believe it will have a second run. Floki and Whiff are definitely up there. Pump, I'm looking at Pump just because of the whole meme sector and how their ecosystem is brought about. Now, with Pump, they had a market cap of 2.5 billion at its high. A 50% decrease would be 1.25. So it's taken about 60-70% correction, and that's where, when all-time highs are hit, I always look for around 70 to 80% corrections. Those normally are good ideas to buy into. So where Pump is right now, I feel like it's a good risk to reward where I'm comfortable taking a long here. Brett's done nothing, and I really do believe that Brett is going to absolutely fly. I still have no idea, and I do really need to get back into the scene about what the fuck these coins are, what the fuck was being called. We talked about it last time. Okay, what the hell is this now? Build on? I'm guessing this is BNB because it's got Pancake Swap. It must be Pancake Swap or ETH. I have no clue. Let's see. Yeah, it's BNB. Wrecked. I've not even seen this, but this is absolutely flying. Okay, so it's a multi-chain meme. Not too bad, not too bad. And then you've got the OGs that are still, still about, still rolling around, still messing around. And they haven't really gone anywhere, most of the OGs. Some of them got absolutely smoked, but a lot of them are still there, like Nero, Notcoin, NPC, Baby Doge, Toshi, even though I don't like it, Snek, Cheems, Ket, Mew, Turbo, Popcat, Use. They're all still there. They're all still there. And I feel like Brett and Popcat are really the next ones to really move. And Turbo, of course. Those are my biggest bets where I feel like they will move the most. And now looking at the Fear and Greed, we've got a bit of a move down from the Fear and Greed, which was good. So in the past, let's say the past week or so, we've taken a bit of a dip. I'm pretty sure it was at around 70. Dropped down to 64. That means we can take another leg up to Extreme Greed. And on the alt season index, we're currently at 42. So there is more confidence going into this alt season now. And obviously when that thing roasts, that is when all the alts are really going to trounce. And I mean absolutely go ballistic. They're going to rollick everything in its sight. Like Bitcoin's not going to move as much as these altcoins are. And we're getting glimpses of it on some coins like, Pengu, Floki, WIF, SPX, Bonk, for instance. Obviously, some of the other ones like Fartcoin, we've not really seen move. But all in all, I feel like there is a good sentiment that crypto is getting the nod. Most of the altcoins are getting some nice movements now. And there is a lot of confidence going into, this last leg, in my opinion, the last leg of this bull market. Okay, guys, with that, I am going to love you and leave you. I feel that that is enough information to get you guys through the past week. One last thing is CME gaps at 118,300. So we could possibly get a back test there next week or at the start of the week. The tether dominance is currently getting a back test of the 4.23% region and therefore needs to break through that. Otherwise, bears will no doubt trounce it. And in terms of this wedge pattern, I'm going to keep an eye. And if we break through, then we're going to be ready for the next leg next week. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed and that was informative. I will catch you in the next one, and I will try to give as much and as many signals as I can during the week. Still on the mend, still doing my best to get better, but we are getting there gradually and surely. All right, catch you.